Good morning, everybody.
Good
I
morning.
welcome you as the host and presenter of today's DBCC Zoom meeting. My name is Barry Cowen, and I'm the president of the Deerfield Beach Computer Club since 2005. Hard to believe, hard to believe. Also, today, please mute everybody who at this time who.
Barry, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay, here we go. Anybody hear my introduction? Okay, I'll do it again. Welcome, everybody. I'm Barry Cowen, the president of the Deerfield Beach Computer Club since 2005, and I am the host and presenter for this DBCC Zoom meeting. Today is Friday, February 4th, 2022. Well, there's a lot has been going on since we last met 2 weeks ago. They had a week of a data privacy week, which we might discuss a little later. The Olympics are now in progress. We'll be talking a little bit about that later on. And we'll also be discussing after the presentation some of the things that we have upcoming through the month of March. We're fully scheduled through. I always get questions about when we're returning to the classroom. I don't know. The way things are going right now, even though there's massive testing of all kinds going on in Century Village, we still don't know whether we're returning to the classroom environment, whether it's safe. I don't know if I ever will under these circumstances, because it's really not safe for me. But we'll let that go for the moment. Anyone please turn off your background, turn off your mics or whatever it is. Okay, we're in recording mode. Thank you. Please remember that during the presentation, all mics will be muted. So you are encouraged to use the chat box to post your comments or to ask any questions. As I pause in different areas of my presentation, I will ask for questions. At that time, you can post them and I'll do my best to answer them, but make sure that they're short because we've got a lot to go through today. And I think that's it. If there aren't any further questions, I'm going to start sharing my presentation here at this moment. Let's hope it works. If it doesn't, I'm sure you'll let me know for a change. Okay. Does everyone see that? Okay, I'm going to go to...
You're on the whole PowerPoint again, Barry.
I am. I'm back in pause again.
Hold on. Looks like it's trying to do something.
Yeah. It's showing as share as pause. Let me go back. All right, we'll just keep doing it till we get it right. Here we go. Now you're on.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay. So here we are in beautiful sunny Deerfield Beach. This was taken a long time ago, but it pretty much looks like the same thing. And so welcome to class. I would say that all the time. I used to write it on the blackboard when we had regular classes, and it's just a nice way of saying, and you're here to be edutained, educated and entertained. So sit back, fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride. This is our mission, to help people understand and manage their technology. I often get this question or this complaint. I've been to many people's homes in Century Village, and I ask the seniors there, so what did your grandchildren send you in the mail already? They said, oh, they sent me this beautiful iPad. Oh, so where is your grandson or granddaughter now? Oh, they went back home. I said, you mean to tell me, where is it? It's down in the bottom drawer. That was 3 months ago, and it's gathering dust. So helping people to understand doesn't do much unless we show them how to manage it. Don't leave them holding the bag. If you give somebody something technological, whether it be a laptop or a tablet or a phone, don't leave until you show them how to use it confidently, because there's a lot of fear going on about technology among seniors these days. There are seniors using a lot of it, but many of them are still afraid to do anything because they see everything that's going on around them, and they're still living in the past. So we used to say in the classroom, you better move your horse and buggy before you get a ticket. Next one is extremely important: to expose people to new and emerging technologies that will impact their life. A prime example of that is assistive technology, of which Don Grossman is our resident expert. There are so many seniors that we have that need to have these technologies in order to make their life more bearable. They have a variety of disabilities, and as time goes by, we're seeing a lot of emerging technologies in robotics, artificial intelligence, AR, and VR, augmented and virtual reality, that are making things easier for them. So if we expose these things to you, we're hoping that they will have a positive impact, not only on your life, but on those you love. Finally, this is what Zoom has been doing, providing a forum for interaction between members on technologies of interest. The most important thing that we get out of here is social contact that we miss. Here we can see everybody, we can talk, we can chat, and we can interact, which is more important than anything else. I've noticed this, and I'm very pleased that it's been continuous throughout. We started our first Zoom presentation in June of 2020 with 8 people. And now we've got in the 30s, averaging in the 25 or 30s. I think we have 25 today, which shows that people are really getting something out of this. If you're not, then we haven't met our mission. And we try to please everybody all of the time, but we just can't do that. But we are trying to level the playing field so that beginners through advanced have something to look at. The previous presentation by Bob Anstead on metaverse was a little bit advanced for a lot of people, but it's good to be able to know something about it, because if you pick up something at least from a presentation, then the better off you are. Okay, next slide, Barry. Oh, we're going to be answering these questions today. In fact, anything in life would have these questions asked. Why? Notice how big it is. Where, what, how, when, and who. Today's topic is hardware and software, update or upgrade. And the questions that we're going to answer is why, what, when, where, how, and at what cost. Well, what is hardware? Hardware is basically a physical, tangible component that you can touch and feel. Examples: a keyboard, a mouse, a hard drive, a phone. Anything that's hardware is a component, and those components right now, unfortunately, are in short supply because of the pandemic. And you have to be very careful where you go in order to get them. Of course, we have that guy right around the corner, Edward, who supplies everything whenever he can. So I encourage you to visit him if you live in Century Village. That's Computers Direct. Okay, Ed, thanks. You owe me $50 now. So why do we want to do anything? Update or upgrade? There's a big difference between updating and upgrading. Now, updates in computer hardware and software are patches of code that are released in order to address certain issues or to activate specific functions. The need to release an update stems from the fact that there are certain problems that are not even apparent before the product is released. And the manufacturer only discovers the problems once users report and request help. An upgrade is the act of replacing your product with a newer and often more superior version or similar product. So an update modifies your current product while an upgrade totally replaces it. It sounds like what I talked about last year when we talked about buying a new item as opposed to a refurbished item. We're talking about the thing right there that is similar. Well, why? Why do you want to do it? That's the first thing you should say. Why do I need to do it? I call people on the phone several times. Whenever Apple has a software update, I give them a courtesy call and let them know, oh, by the way, Apple just released this the other day. Update it as soon as possible. And the big question they ask me is why? What's the rush? Why do I have to do it now? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because in many cases, there is a security update with it. And it is important to install in order to keep the product safe. And then you ask what? Well, what is it? What kind of software thing is it? Well, I'm going to show you in a few minutes when I go to my iPhone and we're going to look at stuff like that. But what is it? It can be a file. It could be a driver, like for a printer. You know, your devices need something to communicate. Everyone's got a printer, but without software, it's useless. What good is it just standing there as a piece of a component unless you have some way of communicating it with it? So the purpose of this is that the software communicates with the hardware. It's like the hardware is like a dumb terminal, and it needs someone to tell it what to do. So the software provides the set of instructions that makes the hardware work. I'll repeat it again. The software provides the instructions that make the hardware work. You have a printer. Now you load the software in. All of a sudden, all the functions become usable. And when should you update? There's a good question, or upgrade. Well, if it's upgrading, when the thing is no longer useful to you, you may want to upgrade. With a phone, for example, I had a choice when I got this iPhone 13 Pro Max. They wanted me to upgrade as well and get the $1,000 for my previous phone. So I argued and said, well, okay, but I'd rather have a phone, even though it doesn't have the subscriber information module in it. The SIM card means it can't make and receive calls, but that gives me an extra phone to use as a wireless phone. So if I don't have my regular phone, I still have that as a backup. So I do have two phones, and that's a reason I keep them. Besides that, I'm a real hoarder. I've got stuff from way, way back. Don't come to the house. You might never find your way out with all the stuff here. So, and where do you do it? Online. Probably there will be a manufacturer's website where it will tell you where the drivers are that you can get for your device to help it communicate. That's software. The driver is software. And sometimes you have to update hardware with it. And there are a variety of pieces of hardware and a variety of pieces of software that may or may not conform to it. So you have to have the specific model number. You could look it up on the manufacturer's site or online and then match it and see what you can do from there. And how do you do it? Well, just like I said, through the manufacturer's website, or if you're doing an Apple update, it will come up and show you that there's an update that's available. I usually call someone, and I'm on the developer, believe me. I'm a developer's on the site where we test things. And as soon as I know something's going to come out, I'm going to tell somebody. If it's a major security update, I'll say, do it now. And how? Well, you go to the device, and I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Finally, at what's it going to cost me? It could be substantial, or it could be a simple thing as just adding a piece of software. A router is a piece of hardware, is it not? And if you own a router, you get special software with it that you're responsible for updating it. If you don't upgrade your router and the Wi-Fi changes to a different standard, I hear Wi-Fi 7's on the way, but now Wi-Fi 6 is there. And if you don't have a router that supports it, you'll be sacrificing a lot of speed and efficiency on your device. Now, those of us that have Comcast gateways that are like a combination of a router and a modem will wind up having their company being responsible. Comcast is responsible for putting automatic updates into that device. So you don't have anything to worry about except paying for it. And now they've raised the rates. All the companies have raised the rates on the rentals of equipment. Nothing new. Let's look at some testing terms. Beta. What is beta? Well, a beta test is a group that I belong to. A beta group is a group of individuals who are chosen to test a piece of software to see how effective it is, whether it's problem-free. And the key word that I want you to take along is vulnerability. I don't know anything in this world that isn't vulnerable to something. And that creates a lot of fear in people. Seniors are probably the most vulnerable of all the populations. Just look at the news. ID thefts, phished messages, whatever it is, they're easily taken. What beta testing does is allow a group of people to try a piece of software for free and then test it out and see if it has any problems. And those problems can be a bug, an error, a flaw, or a patch. You remember how the word bug came into being? Well, let me tell you, there was a Rear Admiral
Grace Hopper.
Right, you got it. Grace Hopper was the one who coined the term bug when she was looking for something, I think on a page or somewhere, and it looked like there was a bug on it. And she said, okay, I'm going to call this a computer bug. And the process of a bug usually involves coding, C-O-D-I-N-G. If you go to an Apple store, you will see a lot of them learning how to code. The kids are over there and they had a big screen and they were learning how to code for robotics, use their own robot or something. It's something fascinating to watch if you can still go in there and look at it. It's well worth your while. But the process of then checking out what is vulnerable is called debugging. Debugging is where you go through a code and then you try to find the problems with it and you apply the fixes. I didn't put fix in there, but it's a fix that goes in when the bug is fixed, then you're less vulnerable. An error, a flaw, and then finally what results is a patch. You know that Apple sends out security updates, and Android too. They patch a vulnerability. Now it may be temporary because as soon as a hacker gets a hold of it, they can start using things to make it more vulnerable. There are good hackers and bad hackers. The bad hackers are the ones that find the vulnerabilities and exploit them and use them against people. The good ones, and there are many, find them, find the bugs or the errors or the flaws, and tell the company directly, hey, we found this. I think you ought to give it your utmost consideration. And for that, they then are able to provide a patch. You know, Microsoft used to have Tuesday. It used to be called Patch Tuesday because there were 20 or so patches released. It was just an amazing number. But these patches are temporary usually until another vulnerability is found and another patch is released. In the beta, once you've reached a consensus among everyone as to what should be submitted, then it goes into what's called gold release. That's the release that goes out to the public that you can safely download. So don't panic. We ought to have a panic button there because that's what the problem is. Everyone panics because you haven't been educated into what to do. Education is the most important thing we can possibly provide to everyone here. If you're educated, you will be forewarned and forearmed. At least you won't be scared if it happens to you. You'll have some idea of what to do. And that's how we meet our mission. And that stops this portion. Are there any questions? If you have a question, please mute yourself and I'll try and answer it, or someone here will.
I've got a point of
Yes.
interest, if you would like, about Grace Hopper.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Grace Hopper used to have large computers that what's in your living room right now was the size of a small warehouse. And all of the switches were actually relays with vacuum tubes, et cetera, et cetera. And those relays actually had open and closed contacts on them. And it was a nice warm place up in New England where she was doing her coding. And every once in a while, the moths and other bugs would actually fly around there. And when one of those relays would slam shut, it would get one of those moths or one of those bugs caught in the relay. And that's where debugging came. They had to run through all of the relays and literally pull the bugs out of the relays of those large, huge computers.
And she was a US Navy Rear Admiral and computer scientist, extremely brilliant.
Oh, and one of the best teachers I have ever seen. She was an amazing teacher. She was excellent. I saw several of her lectures. And
Just like you, Don.
Yeah, no, she was really good. She was really, really good. But yeah, she was one of the best teachers I've ever seen. And that's where the term bugging came from, is they literally went through and pulled the bugs out of the
Meetings
relays.
in progress, can't talk.
Okay. So yeah, that's your little trivia there.
Great.
So can you tell us, you were telling us about hardware and software. Can you tell us about firmware?
Oh, yeah. Well, firmware is usually used for several devices, right? A firmware release is like for a router in some cases, right? The update or flash, they call it flashing a router, is to update it to the latest software. Would that be accurate, Don?
It's pretty good. I liked it. I'm just giving you a hard time here, Barry. Sorry. It's the device in like the router or any of those or in your phone where you've got information that can change, but it holds software, but it will hold software. When you turn it off, that software will come back together. So you've got the combination of the hardware and the software together within the same device. And they couldn't name it hardware or software, so they named it firmware.
Right. Good.
Excellent.
Very good. Any other
Good job, Barry.
questions? Oh,
Yes, I've got a
Steve, go ahead,
question.
Steve.
Yes, I've got a question. Do you feel it's worth updating to 11 from 10?
No, and the reason is if you could, but Microsoft, we're talking about Windows, right? Microsoft 10, Windows
Yes.
10.
That's
Well,
right.
It would be
10.
okay if you meet the requirements for it, because it's pretty easy to upgrade to 11. But they're going to keep doing software updates for Microsoft, I believe, until October of 2025. By that time, we'll probably be in Windows 12 or something else by the
Are there any
time that
features?
expires.
Are there any features in 11 that'd be worthwhile to acquire?
Oh, yeah. I really can't tell you that because I'm not on there yet. But 10 has a great many values. And you first have to use the compatibility checker on Microsoft's site to see whether or not your computer can support the requirements of Windows 11, which can be pretty stiff. So it will tell you, just look it up on Microsoft's site. I think it's called Compatibility Checker, and that will give you an idea. Now, if you want to, I would suggest you could have a backup, you know, of your Windows 10 somewhere as well, just in case. But if you want to look at Windows 11, we do have some stuff on our useful links about it. You can look in the columns there, in the tech columns, I believe, and you'll see something about that we have used as a reference. You can look it up on Google. You can look it up on Microsoft's site and just put in, or look at YouTube. There's tons of videos on Windows 11 on YouTube. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, good. Good. So now it's fun time for iPhone users. I'm going to share my phone here and let's see what happens. I hope everyone was able to see that presentation. But boy, I had a lot of trouble with it, but sometimes the best works out for you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to go to the iPhone or iPad. And we're going to mirror it. Let's see what we got. Give me a sec. Takes a little time to come over. There we go. You see it? Good. There's a lot of features that come in that we'd like to review, some of which we've talked about before, but others that bear reviewing because they're very important concerning today's presentation. Now I'm going to scroll down very slowly. I'm going to press that. Can you see that? On General. And then I'm going to go to Software Update. And this tells me that it's up to date. iOS 15.3 is the latest version. And I got news for you folks, 15.4 beta is already on the reviewing stand, and it probably will be coming out next week. So get ready for another big update. And now here's my about. This is the big phone. And look how much I've got on here. I've got 597 songs, 37 videos, 216 photos, 177 apps. That's why I went and bought the 256, and I've still got 215 available. So that begs to tell you that if you can get a device, always get the most storage you can possibly get. That way, you know, even if you don't use it, you have it in an emergency. Okay, having done that, we're now going to go on to something that I did show you before, but I think it's extremely useful. All right, we're going to start with going back to the main screen here, excuse me. And we're going to go, I have my Apple folder here, and we're going to look at the App Store. We're going to click that. And when it opens, you'll see a profile, your profile picture there. When you tap or click on that, it's going to open to an area right here that shows you upcoming automatic updates. Now, as these updates come up from Apple with the new versions, you're going to see a lot of programs that you have or apps that you have, or this is true with Android. Whenever you get it, a lot of the apps have to be updated in order to function properly, if at all. Now, I've got 177 apps. You can imagine all the stuff I got here, but I can show you an example very easily. If I click update all 14 of these things are going to update pretty quickly. And you'll actually see them on your desktop doing it. But the smart thing to do, if you don't want to do that, is simply go over and scroll down to where it says more. Now it tells you there's a new version. In this one, they'll say, we've made minor enhancements and bug fixes. So that's very important, especially with a banking app. Here's a health app. They had fixed heart rate tags for users with larger text sizes. Here's a TV guide app. I'm just giving the idea that a lot of them say minor bug fixes. So that's the advantage of beta. You can squash those bugs real quick and update. So some people really don't want to do that all the time. One moment. Larry, you have your hand raised? Larry?
Mute, unmute.
Yes.
Okay, just a note on automatic updates. It's highly recommended that you set it to automatic so that they are done for you and you don't have to worry about them. And this is both Android and iPhone.
Good point. And I have it set right here. Settings, general, software
on
update.
top.
Now over here, if you went back and you clicked it, if you turned it off, it would leave you with this: download iOS updates and install them. And it says, and I read, automatically install software updates overnight after they've been downloaded. You will receive a notification before updates are installed. Your iPhone must be charging and connected to Wi-Fi to complete the update. Now, it's not only sometimes the phone that gets the update, it's the Apple TV, it's the iPad,
Watch.
the watch. All of these things apply to that update, and they have to be set up to go automatically. Some of them are on delay, but if you want to do it that way, I simply leave the automatic updates on, and it will tell you when they're available. And when they show up, you just download them on the spot. But remember, you need at least 50% power on your device and have it plugged in. Because some of these updates I'm going to show you are humongous, and they do take a lot of time. So here is our iPhone storage on my phone. Okay. Now it's shown me all the category sizes. And boy, I got a lot of stuff here. Holy mackerel. Well, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. Hopefully you don't get dizzy. And you're going to go to the bottom. And there you've got something very interesting that they've added. Information. Oh, there we go. We're getting there somehow. Wow. I got to get rid of some of these folks, I'm telling you. There's the iOS. 9.2 gigabytes was the last update for version 15.3 on my iPhone. That's huge. That's why it took a long time. And it also picked up system data. So if you want to find out what's on your phone, just keep going. And it will tell you what your app size is and documents and data. And you can offload the app, which will free up storage used and keep its documents and data. It's not really gone because if you reinstall the app at a later time, it will place back your data if the app is still available in there. Or if you can delete it completely if you want, if you feel you don't want to use it anymore. And I'm really got to look through these. 177 of them. I can't believe myself sometimes. Okay. All right. Next, I want to show you is, we know it's the Olympics now, right?
We do.
So here's our time in Miami. Let's see, I want to find out what the time is in Beijing. So I go up to the top here and I press the plus. In the search box, I type in BEIJ. And there it is. There's Beijing, China mainland. When I click on that, look at the time. 13 hours difference, folks. 13 hours. And it's also the same amount of time that's in Manila. Or maybe you're in, maybe you'd like to go to Mike Reeves' territory in London. And there it shows at 3:42. Now here, if we click the edit button at the top, we can see these little groups of horizontal lines like a hamburger menu type thing. And you can slide them up to change the position as you wish. Probably 11:43, and this is more like it right there. When you're finished, you click done, and now you've got a world clock to go with you to let you know what time these cities are. You can fill in a whole bunch if you like. Just something I wanted to show you on the slide. All right. Now here's something that every senior needs to know. A lot of times we're squinting at screens. And that's because the print is too small. There are ways of fixing it. I'm going to show you. First of all, you swipe down from the right side of your screen to bring up your control center. In your control center are a multiple amount of things that I had showed you. You see this thing is pulsating right here. That's telling me that the screen is mirroring right now, is in progress. There's a little thing down here called AA, where you can change the home screen. It says home screen on the bottom or all apps. I don't know if you can see that. I have to maybe move that up to the top. See if I can do it. Well, okay. Anyway, I'm getting somewhere else I shouldn't be. Let's stop that. Okay, let me go back. I'm sorry. I can do that pretty easily, I hope. Okay, let's get back where we were. No panic. Happens to the best of us, folks. And we'll be back any second. There we go. All right, so now we were over here on the control center, and we swiped from the right corner down. It may be different if you have a phone that has a button on it, a home button on it, otherwise, but the screens are basically the same. So now I go to AA, where that is, and I can change the text across the board. Now watch what happens if it goes to 150%. You don't even need reading glasses anymore because this thing, let's see what we get. Let's pick an item in Safari. Let's pick something else. No, I don't know what I've got here, but I'm getting rid of it. Let's pick something else. Let's just go to NewYorkTimes.com. Okay. Now, in the New York Times site, of course, you got to pay for it, but let's see what we have. Okay, we don't have the reader there. That's not a really good site to show you. But once this thing gets wide, you can you pinch it, you know, with your fingers out this way or out that way. But I like to have every screen that I use pumped up. So let me make sure that that setting is there indeed. Okay, we got AA and the text size. Let's say all apps. So now if I go to an app, let's see, Apple, and I go to the App Store, that is noticeably larger. You see how large that is? And that's easier to see, is it not? And you can apply that to everything now. I can see that very clearly without glasses. And that's a way to help people who have problems with sight. I hope that was helpful to you as well. So we call that increasing the font size for all the selected screens. There's so many things that I could show you. We've run out of time. Display and brightness is extremely important. If you want a dark screen, you just go there and click it. That's good at night because you don't need all this light in there. During the day, you don't need it. And you can set your auto lock. Now, if you set it to never, I'm doing it for this presentation because if I didn't set it to never, the screen would shut down on me. But if you leave this on by mistake, your phone isn't really going to shut off and it's going to eat that battery pretty badly. And here's your text size again. You can also move the slider on the bottom. And that's another way to increase the font size. Here you can make it bold. You can zoom in and everything. Whoops, somebody's here late. All right. Well, I don't know why that's in there, but it shouldn't be. And that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. Did everybody learn something? Let me know. Give me a sitting ovation. Okay, great. So let's unmute everybody. And I'd like to welcome everybody who just came in. I see, where are you, Marilyn? Marilyn, are you there? Okay, she's one of
Okay, I unmuted. Yeah, sorry, I was a little late getting here, but it sounds like I missed the most interesting part of the meeting.
Oh,
It
that's
said that it was recorded. Is there some way I could listen?
absolutely. What's going to happen is, once this meeting is completed, I get the recording on my computer and I post it on our YouTube channel,
Okay,
where you can find by going to, oh, by the way, I wanted to show you one thing. You just made something. Let's see if I've got it. Yeah, right here. I want to show you this. Here's our YouTube page, okay? When you click on that, you're going to be taken over to my Music Man channel, which is the club's channel. And when you go to videos, you're going to see, oh, I did a few, about 135 now, I think. You'll see the latest one posted right here. Does that answer your question?
yes, okay.
And you can find that on your mobile device. We have a mobile version of the club site as well as this desktop. Now, look at what we've got coming up, folks. Next week, home automation security, in 2 weeks rather. In 2 weeks after that, and I think everyone's going to get a benefit from digital asset estate planning. What happens when you're gone, and what happens to your digital estate, your passwords, your usernames, your everything that someone, your loved one, would need to be able to find out in order to take control of your accounts or whatever, whether they be the have the power of attorney, or whether they're acting for a trust or a guardianship or whatever. And finally, Haley is going to come back to us and give us a presentation on the Broward County, Florida library site. If you haven't been there, you are really missing something. It has really been vastly improved. I read all my magazines from there. I don't even have to go anywhere else. I now read them as PDFs, and they're all free. Here's something we have down in assistive tech. Let me show you this. This is Don's area. This is Don's area of expertise. And I took this definition from Wikipedia. It says it consists of products, equipment, and systems that enhance learning, working, and daily living for persons with disabilities. Magnifiers. I just showed you a way that you can magnify the print. Talking devices such as a thermostat, braille displays, screen reading software, text-to-speech systems using OCR, large print materials. You ever see those books they now sell with large print for a little more money in Barnes and Noble? Phones with large tactile buttons. In other words, you can push them easily. They're responsive. And so, Don, that's your area of expertise, I know. Here is something that I think everyone should be looking at. It's the Alzheimer's store is a one-stop store for everything that's your loved one needs. How much would you be willing to spend to make your loved one happy? Here you can find games and activities. If you're in the early stage of Alzheimer's, for middle stagers, and phones for memory. My girlfriend cannot remember any phone numbers any longer. And I'm praying for the day that she will never have, where she will lose sight of who I am and everything else. Here's an example of featured products. A door guardian, confounding lock with a key. I may need to put these on because she's wandering a bit through the house. And we don't want her to go near the stove or something and burn herself. Playmate pets. We have about 15 stuffy animals in the house. And these pets actually talk and they react. When you pet them, a cat, it purrs. If you pet the dog, it barks. And you'd be amazed how much people respond to these things in therapy. As a musician, I can tell you that when I play the piano after a meeting like this for a few hours, I get tremendous therapeutic value out of it. All the stress comes out because I'm doing something that I really like, and there's no pressure on me except just to please myself. And music is really the source of therapy in a lot of nursing homes, I believe, in assisted living facilities. You've probably seen the story of the lady on YouTube who was a ballet dancer in her youth. She was famous. She went all over the world, danced with the most famous troupes. And when she was in a facility, she was literally catatonic. She was looking straight ahead, had no knowledge of where she was, couldn't make movements with her hands or her feet, and couldn't recognize anything. I remember the picture with Robin Williams called Awakenings. I highly recommend it. There are certain pictures you can see on YouTube for free. All you have to go is to YouTube and type in free movies. There's hundreds of them, absolutely free. Some of them are full length. And they're not, they're ad free because they've been given by YouTube to everybody. So I recommend that. Marble mazes for seniors. A wander alert alarm system. A door guardian confounding lock. A lot of them are pretty smart. They can figure a way to open a refrigerator or something else or a cabinet, take some food out and just spill it all over the place and not remember what they've done. Here's another thing. Puzzles. Everybody loves puzzles. And the Alzheimer's store is the #1 source for comfort and safety products designed specifically for those with Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, and other memory-related conditions. It's a family-owned business that has been trusted and visited by millions of caregivers as a resource for activities, books, gifts, educational tools, and safety devices that have been rigorously tested by us. See, they're beta testers. They take the tools, they get them as a compliment from the company to try them out for free. And then they give back their reviews, and those reviews are posted, and then they come up with these videos. I'm not going to play it because I'm not sure it would be copyright legal or not. Whether caring for an Alzheimer's patient or caring for a loved one at home, it can help you make your days easier.
Just an extra point there also, with the assistive technology stuff.
Yes.
I happen to have Humana as my insurance company, and they have
Mhm.
this OTC thing over the counter where they give you so much money every month. I
Right.
just purchased a blood pressure thermometer and oxygen device, all of which talk to me. So they tell me what my oxygen level is, tell me what my blood pressure is, tell me what my temperature is. And those are all available with the OTC, the money that they give you in the Humana
What
pharmacy.
is that just for Humana people who have Humana?
I don't know. I'm just saying that's what happened with me. They give me so much every month, and it accumulates through every quarter. And I was looking through the catalog, the Humana OTC catalog, and it just happened to have those devices that talk to you. So I have a talking blood pressure machine. I have a talking oxygen machine. I have a talking thermometer, which tell me what those things are now. And it was just available through my insurance company, essentially for free for me.
But what's on here is extremely useful. Look at this. Do you know that seniors have the biggest problem with the medication? That they will take things without even knowing that they've taken them and suffer the consequences. Sometimes Bev would sneak them out, and the aide found them and brought them back to me and said, is she supposed to be taking this? And she knows she wasn't. This is a senior safety medication dispenser. Accidental double dosing, virtually impossible. It's expensive. In fact, they'll even tell you, there'll be a message coming from the machine. Oh, it's time to take your medication or whatever. Here's an electronic pillbox dispenser, programmable. And here's a music therapy teddy bear. Just squeeze his paw and he'll play your favorite tunes. I told you, music is to me, if I ever sitting in hospice somewhere, music will definitely be all around me to the moment I die. Senior cell phone with a picture dialing and GPS, a day clock with reminder assistance. You can buy them a device like an Echo device, an Alexa, right, Don? And put it right in their room.
Yes,
And you can visit them. What do they call that when they visit them by Alexa? Stop in or something like that.
yeah, drop in.
Drop in, yeah. Yes, I live in Niagara Falls. Drop in and see me sometime, right?
Right.
So it's a day clock. Here's a GPS tracker watch. The prices are pretty steep, but it's worth it if you love somebody and you want to just give them the best. Okay. Enough of that. Now, we're going to talk next about the Olympics. And guess what? I went down and I looked at news to use. Here's a link directly to the Winter Olympics site on NBC that you can use for the latest news. Sometimes if you can go to Peacock and see it live. Now you need a Peacock account to do that. You have to sign up for it. It's easy to do. Some parts of Peacock are free, others contain more content. And I think that's true about everything you can buy today. It's no more free, it's fee. All the credit card companies are raising their late fees. All the streaming services are raising their subscription fees. And some people will gladly pay it to get the gamut of things that they offer. We also have a Wired magazine, excellent article, which shows you how to watch the 2022 Winter Olympics. The opening ceremony is already up there that you can see. Yeah, that's just a commercial. I don't want to show that. All right, well, that's basically, oh, here's Steve is your answer. Steve, are you there? Okay, well, he can look at this and it will answer his question about updates. Why should he
Yes, I see
update?
that.
See it?
Yes, I do.
And therefore, you can go use the link below to see if you're capable. So click on compatibility checker. And it will show you how to get Windows 11 and check for continuity here to see if it works, or compatibility rather. See it?
Yes, but I'm more interested in the features, not compatibility.
Well, it's going to tell you,
Okay.
okay? It will tell you on that page what they are. And if that doesn't, we have something called useful links, right?
Very useful.
Yes. Although I am the useless guy that puts together useful links, right?
Oh, no.
Just another thing I'm doing for this club. 17 years of it now, almost 18. So we go to our pages. We go to our member resources and we look for useful links. And under there, you can see the tech links for Windows 10 users, Chrome Unboxed, Apple Insider. I can put something in for Windows 11. But all of these people talk about it. You just have to click there. Some of them have audio podcasts. Oh, here's the link to the Broward County Library. When Haley comes, you're gonna go crazy about what they put in here in e-media. With just a library card, you're going to be able to get everything. So I'm done. Believe me. So let's just go back to chat. And okay, the floor is yours. Anybody? Let her rip. Keep me awake. I've got my coffee here, so.
I'd like more information on the speech, the text-to-speech application. I've seen them in apps, but they're charging a price. Is this someone you can get it for nothing?
You talking about a dictation type thing?
The adaptability aspect of it.
Oh, Don, do you know anything
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I use the pay for it one. I use the Dragon Dictate, which has been out there the longest. They bought almost everybody up, but there are some other ones available. Ray Kurzweil is the guy who developed the Siri. He's in another world right now. But those are the text to speeches that are out there. Some of them are adaptable. I noticed that Microsoft now has you can write it straight text to speech. Oh, excuse me, text to speech. I'm sorry, I was going speech to text. Text to speech. I'm sorry, I'm going to change gears here.
Would that be from the alstore.com site?
That I'm sorry, I'm having a senior moment. Just hang on here a second.
Okay, take your
I
time. Don.
use the Kurzweil. There is a readable in Windows. There is a text to speech. NASA, I believe, is a generic. JAWS is the one for people that are blind. But the NASA, I believe, is the one that's going to be. You're going to have to adjust the amount of speech that you want out of it. You want them to read everything or just the highlights of stuff. And that's adjustable, but that's probably the most powerful free one that's out there.
Is that available on the
Oh, great.
alstore?
Yeah, it's a freebie. I will see if I can't get it in the assistive tech division over there. Information about the text to speech stuff.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Don.
okay,
Well,
great.
I
Irving,
believe Windows 10 has it built in, and I would assume
They
okay.
do.
that Windows 11 has it also.
They do. Yes, they do.
Is that Cortana?
I think so. I don't use Cortana.
No,
Okay.
it's
Too invasive of your privacy.
Right,
yeah, there's a little down in the corner, there's the accessibility window, which gives you all of the accessibility highlights, the magnifier, the text to speech, the speech to text, all of those devices, and you can turn those on or off within your Windows 10.
it looks like I got, okay, that's gone, okay. Mike, we haven't heard from you. How are things in jolly London? Unmute yourself, Mike.
I can't really talk to you because there's 10-second time delay. So
Oh.
I'll talk, but yeah, I won't get a reply. I'm still in Florida. And I will be till the end of April.
Oh,
But that's it.
okay.
I'd like to go back to the text enlargement on
Yes.
the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not sure how it works, but I know on Android, there are a lot of applications that don't heed the Android operating system enlarging
Mm-hmm.
the font. So it's kind of funky sometimes.
Well, yeah, that leaves the case open to somebody to notify the developers. I'm on the development team on the Apple side. I got to be in that years ago. And what we do is we share each other's issues that have problems with the specific apps, and then we try to come up with a universal solution. The problem with Android is that there's so many different kinds of phones. You know, there's billions of Android devices out there compared to Apple. But I believe Apple is much easier to understand and to follow and consistent with all its devices. If you look at Android, there's so many different companies making it. Their screens may, in cases, vary compared to Apple screens. And to get somebody to switch over to Android from Apple, or the other way around, there's a big difference. But that's up to you. I mean, I like coffee, I like chocolate, you like vanilla. That's just how it is. Yes, Dorothy.
I have an Apple phone. I have a 6S. And I think, I don't know how much longer they're going to support it. But if I update it, what should I go to? I mean, do I have to go to a 13 or can I buy a furnished like a 10?
Well, you can buy anything above that, but it should, to be efficient, have support the latest updates that come through.
Barry,
When they discontinue a phone, they will discontinue sending updates to that phone. Yes.
Barry, I think she may want to look at the SE.
Agreed.
The SE is a great deal, absolutely. It is phenomenal. It has the same microchip as the 13 and the 12. A great screen. I just bought one as a backup to my iPhone 12 Pro, and I just love it. It's very light and very powerful.
It's an SE.
Yes.
Okay.
Special edition.
I agree 100% with that. My phone died totally, and I went to buy a new one, and to buy a brand new one, it was like, I don't know, $1,200, which I'm sorry, it's just not on my bailiwick. But the SE did everything that I wanted that one to do. It's just a little bit smaller, but it was only like $300 or so.
And it took all the updates.
And it did everything I wanted it to do. I mean, it has all of the features, everything else. It's just a little bit smaller. Well, this is it right here. This is the SE. It's just a little bit smaller, but it does everything that the 12 or 13 does.
Yes. The other thing also, you might want to check with Comcast. Comcast, one of my girlfriends, she just got an SE. And something to do with Comcast that they give it away. I don't know if she had to upgrade her TV or internet. I don't know exactly what, but she got an SE free of charge.
I know about that deal. They had a deal where they gave you an SE, but you had to go with their service because I took a friend there, but their service was like $15 a month. And so it was a good deal and they gave her an SE. So,
Yes.
But I'm thinking about getting a new phone, and that's a good idea because I don't have to spend $1,000 on a phone.
Does anybody know someone that has consumer cellular?
No.
Okay.
We all jumped all over that.
I have consumer cellular.
What do you like about it?
It works all over the place and it's pretty inexpensive. And they have excellent customer service.
Star.
Good. And
We've been using consumer cellular for several years. We had Verizon, we had T-Mobile, all different kinds of things. And, you know, we travel cross country a lot, east to west, north to south. And most of the time we've gotten the most service, not every location, but we've gotten the most service with consumer cellular. And whenever we call them with a problem, they're just marvelous about helping. And you don't have to wait 3 hours to get someone on the phone.
right. That's great to know. Thank you, Marcia. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
I just got back on.
Yeah.
I had someone visiting here. My daughter was
Okay.
here, and then my other daughter called on the phone. So I'm going to have to listen to all of this from the recording later.
Yeah, we should have it up. I'll try and have it up tomorrow or later
Okay,
tonight.
great.
I think I read that consumer cellular was part of Verizon. I read an article recently that said it's part of Verizon and it uses the Verizon network.
It's the Verizon network. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's part of it, but I know they use the Verizon network.
right.
And yet a few years ago, they had told me at the time that they used the AT&T towers and that's why they could cover so much territory.
You know, that 5G, the 5G is fifth generation wireless technology. Where it's breaking out, one playing, it's like, I've got bigger toys than you do. You know, it's AT&T against T-Mobile against Verizon. One claims I got the coverage here and there. It takes an awful lot to get 5G to work. You've got to have the right tower. You've got to have the right, you know, environment for it. And there's a lot of infighting. You know, the latest one was the, I wanted to mention this, I forgot to. When we were talking about beta testing and everything and parts and hardware, look at aircraft. I used to be a Microsoft simulator pilot. I had a lot of virtual crashes, believe me. No dead passengers, but
It's good.
the airplane has wings, has ailerons, has flaps, has landing gear. All those are hardware. But the most important thing is the instrument panel in there. And the FAA was arguing, and all the airlines were arguing, that if 5G is implemented in some of the airports, it will affect the inertial guidance system that's used to guide the plane into landing, to tell it how far it is from and above the runway. If that were the case, it's very possible that in a case of where they call IFR, instrument flight rules, where you really can't see out of the cockpit because of bad weather, you have to depend on your instruments in order to land. And if those instruments were affected, you could crash because you have no way of knowing how high above you are. I've listened to them say that in the cockpit. You can actually hear them count down. They'll say if you get in approaching the airfield, it will say 1,000 feet, then 100 feet, and then 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and down to where at that point your landing gear should be down and on the aircraft, and then they hit the brakes and the spoilers that slow down the aircraft from 160, 170 coming in down to almost a crawl, so they can then dock in at the main location. Anyway, that's just an aside. Irving, how are you today? Unmute yourself, Irv.
Hi there. Yes, I'm just great. Just great. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
In following the presentation on the iPhone, okay, I took my old iPhone and I went with you all the way to the to the text enlarger. And there is one on my old SC. That's the generation 1. But I don't know if it actually works or not.
Well,
I tried clicking on it and it wouldn't respond.
Well, sometimes how old is it?
Well, it's a first generation SC, which makes it at least 6 years, maybe 7 years old.
It may be that they don't have the proper update for it, and that makes it, the features and the functionality are lacking. That happens.
It's also, yeah, this phone is also lacking in space because it won't accept the iOS 15. There's just not enough room on it.
Okay, folks, this has been a pleasure again to be with all of you. I want you to stay healthy and safe till our next meeting in 2 weeks. Again, I'll repeat who it is. It's going to be APCUG expert, recognized national expert on home automation. Bill James will be coming from Oklahoma, where right now I couldn't even correspond with him or reach him because they've had that terrible snowstorm. All my friends that I usually correspond with have been victims of Landon. No offense, Don. That's his email, Landon42, right?
Yep.
So, I was saying, look who the wind blew in here. No, I'm sorry. You know, it's good that we have the ability to laugh at each other. I don't think anybody realized the faux pas that I made 2 weeks ago. Do you know what I said? I said, in my beginning, I said, welcome, everyone, like I always do. Today is Friday, January 22nd. That was a Saturday. It was January 21st that we met. I caught it and I self-flagellated myself. And that's how I am. I used to be an editor of the college newspaper and everything, and things just pop out at me. I hate it. I'm a perfectionist. So I may have slipped up a little bit today, but that's okay, I hope. So I love you all, wish you well, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Stay well.
Thank you very
until
much,
then.
Barry.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Bye,
Barry.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Thank you, Barry.
Bye, thank you.
Take care. See you
Bye.
soon.